Hello, folks, and welcome to a very special Patreon-only edition of The Last Mark Standing. With your prodigal son returning after a brief hiatus, Damian, maybe Saltine G, if you ask Trina, and the international superstar known as the Marky Smart, my tag team partner and favorite person in wrestling, Trina. Hey, Trina.
Hi. What's going on?
So, I woke up today, decided I wanted to record because just good stuff was happening today for me in terms of wrestling. And for those who are going to listen to this on patreon.com, I was asked by a contact at a very famous and popular radio station here to help produce a segment for an interview that they were going to do with Randy Orton, because the person doesn't know anything about wrestling except through me. And I thought they were bullcrapping me a couple weeks ago when they reached out in the first place. And I'm like, oh, please, they're not going to bother me. Like, it's no big deal. They're just, saying nice things for me, whatever. And then yesterday, I'm out after work, and I get a text message from the person saying, dude, send questions now, interviews at 2. So I'm thinking, oh, you were serious. Okay, so I wake up at like 7:30 in the morning after like 4 hours of sleep, and I churn out about 20 some odd questions, and we'll see which one of them get used. And once the interview's aired, I will put it on my Twitter at Dare to be Damian, and we'll see which ones get used. So I just felt the need to have a conversation with Trina because, not for nothing, we've come a long way in the 8 months that we've been doing this show. And if you heard us on Reflections, we got a lot more goals in mind. But right now, I'm on a little bit of a high because I have been getting kicked in the nuts by a lot of things lately. So this made me feel uber good. And then before we went on there, I got a email from one of our day one ride-alongs, or ride or dies, as you want to call them, about trying to set me up with on-camera stuff and, not just keeping me behind a radio microphone and putting me out, out and about in the public, which, again, it's something interesting, which I never thought I would do. But I've been getting a lot of encouragement from people who work in broadcasting and in television about, and not to sound like this because I hate making it seem this way, that I'm attractive enough to be on camera. and I have a nice mug, quote unquote, and I have a relatable face. So I don't know what that means, but it means I should be on camera.
You have a relatable face.
Apparently I look relatable. I don't know how a Puerto Rican, Japanese, Italian guy is relatable, but I can run with it. It's fine. So here we are recording the hot mess of a show that we said was going to be a hot mess, but I wanted to really touch on terms of wrestling. Just a lot of vitriol coming out from people this week about Cedric Alexander and Alicia Fox. And you got Rusev with Enzo and Lana being used as some sort of ploy. And then, WWE signing a couple of indie female wrestlers, which I'm so happy for, especially Kimberly and Heidi Lovelace, who I've seen countless times. WWE's been busy in the social angles, as it were. So I want to start with something before we came on air. You and I were debating this, the Cedric Alexander, Alicia Fox, Bayley angle. So give the audience your impression of what you're taking from it, and then I can come in with my own opinion.
Since we're live, really quick, could you send me the link to this?
I'm not putting it out.
No, I know, but send me personally.
Oh, okay. I'll send you the link.
Yeah. So it's interesting because it's nice to see a lot of the men in wrestling be sort of tired of this girl chases boy sort of storyline. They find it very soap opera-y, and they feel like Cedric and Alicia are probably better than this, better than just an angle where Alicia's a jealous girlfriend type or whatever. And so, but the girl in me, and I don't know if this is correct. Like maybe I should be more feminist about it. I don't mind it. I really like it. I think I think it shows a little bit of range in both of them. Like this is a storyline that I wouldn't have, thought to put the two of them in. I don't know why. Maybe everyone else thinks that. But I don't know. I like it. I like the thought. I like the thought of Alicia mistaking people's interactions with Cedric as romantic overtures, because that happens in real life. Like on paper, girl chases boy is very common. It's very soap opera. It's it's stale. But I think if you play it out correctly, you definitely can hit some of the nuances of everyday human interaction.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's the part I started to agree with you on, was this is a real life situation that can happen, because I was all ranting and raving about it being a soap opera angle and it has nothing to do with wrestling. What the hell? And then you're right. It deals with the real life situation of if you're in a relationship and let's say I'm in a relationship with you and a woman gives me a teddy bear that you don't know from two holes in the wall, like, why she give you a bear?
Right.
So I could understand a woman or a man, if it was a man, and the opposite way too, where it's just like, yo, who's this person buying my boo, or whatever you want to call my bae, some stuff, and it's not coming from me.
Right.
As much as I hate the fact that it's not a real wrestling angle, because I don't like relationship angles that aren't real in real life. I think it's stupid to make two people. And again, I know people are going to say, well, in acting, people pretend to be dating. I like to separate my wrestling from acting. Okay, that's just me. But I don't like it. But in this realm, it makes sense because it furthers the storyline, and it's something that's relatable in real life. So while I may not agree with it in a wrestling sense, I'm assuming for Monday Night Raw, this makes perfect sense. But then again, these are the writers we're talking about, and who knows, maybe next week they'll have like a dog pee on Cedric Alexander.
Oh, God.
Sorry, Gabby, for saying that, but maybe they'll have a dog pee on Cedric, or Alicia Fox will like rip the wig off someone's head. I don't know, but I want to see where it goes from here. I'm not going to make a snap judgment.
Right.
To kill the angle. And I thought a nice little wrinkle was Noam Dar dedicating his victory on 205 Live over Cedric to Alicia Fox. I thought that was really interesting. I thought that was, because I thought Noam Dar came across as just such an asshole.
Right.
That's what I didn't like about him in the Cruiserweight Classic. He just looks like, I'm better than you, go fuck yourself. And that's kind of the way he portrayed himself on 205 Live in his match against Cedric Alexander.
Right.
So I thought that was a nice wrinkle.
Yeah, there's no depth in I'm better than you. But there's depth in I'm better than you, and I'm going to stir the pot with who may or may not be your girlfriend. Because that's the other thing, is that like it not only speaks to human interaction in that like maybe you misinterpret what people do towards your significant other or whatever. I think it speaks to everyday relationships now, in that you can have a relationship like Cedric's and Alicia's and have it be ambiguous enough that like people take things out of context, and I'm only saying this as somebody who has single friends like in their 30s and talking to them about relationships. I don't really know like what happens with dating and things like that. But when I listen to their story, this is like too much information, but when I listen to their stories and like the people they're quote unquote dating, I'm like, how do you consider that dating? I don't really like people dating now is like the weirdest thing to me. You can see somebody like once every 2 or 3 weeks, but it's like the same person. So like, that's sort of the person you're dating, I could see a situation where like they hung out and Alicia's like, oh, okay, like we're like a thing. And he's like, no, I have, you're like number 6 on the depth chart or whatever. Crap. I don't know. I'm like making assumptions about dating. I have no idea. But that's my impression of talking to like single people now and the way that the dating scene is. And so, this is us trying to rationalize what WWE is giving us in terms of storylines. So we could be reaching, but hey, it's a lot more fun if you apply this sort of psychology to it. That's like, think of it that way. Like, think of it as like two people who may or may not have a misunderstanding about what their relationship is, and then have someone misunderstanding the relationship of her coworkers to this person, like it becomes like Bridget Jones's Diary or something, or, like whatever. And so, like I said, like maybe we're like attributing way too much to this stuff. Like we're giving the writers too much credit, but it's so much more fun this way to think about it. like this, don't you think?
Funny. Now that you're doing it up that way. Because I'm cracking up just thinking about the whole situation.
Right. And then Noam Dar's like, he's the cocky British guy or Scottish guy or whatever that's just like stirring the pot, like, hey, Alicia, what's going on? Like, and this is just, everybody's just misinterpreting things, and why not? I like it.
It's almost like the PG version. It's the PG version of what's going on with Enzo and Enzo, Cass, and Rusev and Lana.
Right.
It's a very PG light version of what's going on, because you have Alicia Fox going up, catching an attitude with Bailey, and like you said, Noam Dar pretty much saying how you doing to Alicia Fox,
right?
Which I thought, like I said, was a nice wrinkle. But now, compare that to Raw,
right, exactly.
Where we have a married couple in real life, mind you, a married couple in real life, pulling some, and I said this on Twitter, some SVU episode nonsense where they set up a sting to trap Enzo, where Lana's like, yeah, come get some, and Enzo's just running all in to go get some, and then that leads to him getting his ass kicked by Rusev. It's straight up Law and Order SVU, and all I keep thinking is, this was a good idea to somebody? This was a good idea.
I like how you went like immediately to SVU. I went like to the way darker place. Like when I reviewed this for Fightful on Monday, I went to I felt like I was watching a snuff film. Like,
oh yeah, you did say that.
Yeah, they like lured Enzo into like some psychosexual like hotel room, and they're just gonna like kill him, and it got really dark for me really quickly. And so I think it's cute that like you went Law and Order SVU, and I'm all like snuff film. So I have a really warped. I know, I have a really warped sense of like relationships. Is what this is revealing.
Yeah, this would be why it would be an issue to date you, because you have a really morbid sense of dating and male-female interactions.
Yeah.
Like, want to be part of my snuff film?
Right,
yeah, all right.
Yeah. I mean, this is why everybody's better in the friend zone with me, because either you'll like end up dead or something.
Trino's the Black Widow when it comes to dating. She will literally bite your head off and kill you because she thinks it's all fun for the snuff film.
Right. Well, I mean, I did say like I was going to take Sami Zayn to oblivion, so I don't even know what that means.
Oh my God. Did you regret that line, by the way?
No, it's perfect. It's the best line ever.
Should I remind the audience what that line is from?
Yeah, this is a Patreon only. We might as well.
Okay, so that line about Trina fucking Sami Zayn into oblivion, which I spit out my water when I heard it, was on Mad Men After Dark a little while ago. There's great guys, Andrew Zarian, BTC Rich, intern Deacon. But, Trina was like, I'm Sami Zayn looks like the kind of guy that she would want to fuck into oblivion just because he's all shucksy.
Right.
Like you don't want to touch Sami Zayn. He's like a lamb. You don't want to mess with him.
Yeah.
But the minute someone gets their claws into him, this is where I think like if this was the Attitude Era, we'd have like Dawn Marie, or not Stacy Keibler, but who was not like Victoria, like
oh yeah.
Torment poor Sam or Tori, torment poor Sami Zayn, and try to fight off all these women's advances that he doesn't know how to handle it.
Right, exactly. Well, yeah, I mean, in my head, he's like the beta to my alpha. So.
Otherwise, the bitch to your, I'm strong, you're my bitch. That's essentially what it is. You gotta make Sami Zayn your bitch.
Yeah.
Patreon, you're getting a good show, Patreon, because this is stuff
right?
we would never talk about on Last Mark Standing.
This is gold. In the middle of the afternoon, too.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like 5 o'clock in the afternoon, New York time. It's like, wow, I'm hyped.
Snuff films and like
rape and pillaging and SVU and psychotic girlfriends. And oh, by the way, my Evolve show again that I am attending on Saturday, my ex-girlfriend's going to be there again.
What?
Tell me that she's going to be there again.
Okay,
and we're going to be sitting in the same section.
This is some real life drums. Like,
this is why I'm trying to get people to go with me. I need like,
you need protection?
No, I do. And I need some APA type stuff. Like,
right,
just
exactly.
Just in case. But yeah, so
oh my gosh,
that's for me. That's where I'm at with the WWE. Like, I don't even gotta watch it. I'm just gonna say, okay, this was the big story. That's what we're gonna talk about, and we're gonna Last Mark standing it up. And I don't care because it was brought up on Twitter. I think it was one of the New Age Insiders. And I believe another one. It was Anthony. talking about, do wins and losses matter? Does the matches actually, do they actually matter to progress the story? Because you could lose 14 matches in a row, but the crowd, the only difference is that the crowd will eventually turn on you. And we've said this, titles for me do not matter. Wins and losses don't matter. So only if you're allowed to look strong on television, or you're compelling, or you're good in the ring, that's how you get over. Because you could, like, Ambrose was the lovable loser for a while, and then the minute he won the title, people hated him. So it's sort of like when Becky Lynch, when she finally won the title, they were like, oh, well, she's lackluster. Her title reign has been great. Now that Alexa Bliss has it, oh, it's amazing. Whereas in the opposite, AJ Styles got better when he turned heel and when he won the championship. Even though the champ that runs the camp, the face that runs the place, does get
stupid
on your nerves after a while. Yeah, well, juvenile, so it makes sense. But and now you have the New Day turning heel, so wins and losses don't really matter anymore. It's more, can you move merchandise? I believe that's the number one thing. Can you draw? Can you move merch? It's not about how good you are in the ring, because Cesaro's a master, Luke Harper's pretty damn good, and look where they are.
Yeah. No,
so
I think it's who the crowd relates to, like who they gravitate towards. So it's not, it's not necessarily wins or losses. It's not necessarily ring ability. It might not even be like the way you cut a promo. It's like the whims of that crowd that night, and the internet, so it's like, it's tough. That's why we have Ellsworth, and I think, I noticed that with Dean. I watched SmackDown today. I didn't watch it live. I felt like he had the same like push behind him he did before he won the belt. Like before he won the belt, like he was hot. Like people were just like, we can't wait for him to win the belt, blah, blah, blah. And then he won it. And then it was like a big, like, wah, wah, wah. And now he finally has the crowd like in his favor again. And it is due in part to what his storyline with Ellsworth, like people gravitate towards Ellsworth, and the fact that he's involved in that storyline makes you want to cheer for him.
Right. And personally, just seeing him kick Ellsworth in the stomach and just dirty deeds him.
Right, exactly.
And before his music even ended was great. It's like, his music didn't even end. He just kicked him and DDT'd him and then walked right back out.
Right. So, but then I'll ask you, it's like, do you think if you take Dean Ambrose and replace him with anyone else on the roster, would it be as effective?
No.
Or
nope. Because I thought about that. I thought about if you took, let's say,
Dolph Ziggler,
Bo Dallas, Bo Dallas,
yeah,
Curtis Axel, to name a few, would it have the same, beating up jobbers?
Right.
What be even better? Braun Strowman was the first guy to beat up James Ellsworth.
Right.
If you put Braun Strowman in that position, is it the same thing? No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's Dean. It's something about Dean.
It's because Dean is like loser Jace. Because we've talked about this on the show. Like, he's supposed to relate to the everyman, so he's supposed to be the character of the everyman that just happened to make it to WWE by mistake, like who just like happened to work really hard and like sweep enough floors and pay his dues on the indies, and he made it. Like, he's not Roman Reigns, he's not Seth Rollins, like he's just an everyday dude that shows up to work in jeans and like wrestles in jeans
and a tank top.
Right, exactly. And then that's why it's the perfect juxtaposition of every man. Like, Ellsworth's an everyman, Dean's an everyman, but they're different levels.
Would you say that would you say AJ could be considered an everyman or no?
He has that quality to him because it took him so long to get to WWE. I think that the man relates to that because, again, he paid his dues. Like that's people's knock on Roman Reigns. Like people just don't feel like he paid his dues the way that, Kevin Steen, Kevin Owens did, or like Sami Zayn, or AJ Styles. Like everybody knew that AJ was probably the best wrestler in any organization that he was in outside of the WWE. And so I think if you have that credibility, I think that's what people like gravitate towards and they relate to. And I think that's how you can put Ambrose and Ellsworth sort of like on the same parallel, because they are, like both everyman type characters, but we know Dean Ambrose has paid his dues. Like we've watched him progress. We don't know that about Ellsworth. People dig up like old indie footage of him and it's all like a mess. Like none of it is like legit. Like they keep pulling up like matches with him and Gilbert and just like, like I haven't seen any footage yet of Ellsworth like on the indie scene, like being really, really good, Like everyone says like he has an 18-year career and I'm like, okay, well then somebody show me like one good match, like show me that he like actually can work. But none of that stuff really comes up. All that comes up is like, oh, isn't this funny? He did a match with Gilbert.
Yeah, all of it was just humorous. It's not like a real wrestling match. And I hate to use that term so loosely, but I get what you're saying.
Right. I mean, it's cred. I mean, this is a carny business. You got to put your time in, like so that other people will trust you and you have to build your credibility.
Mm-hmm.
So
you have a credibility. You don't think so?
I mean, I don't know.
Well, I say that because lastmarkstanding.com, that's what we do. We've built cred,
right. Like we have a library of work.
Yes, we actually do have an actual library that people can peruse and listen to. And, I want to give a quick shout out to all those who are just finding us because I've seen a spike in the downloads of old episodes. I mean,
it's because they want to hear me be like a jackass.
Like the first 2 episodes and 3 episodes. Wow. Like, wow, you guys are really glutton for punishment, man. Yeah. But lastmarkstanding.com to SoundCloud, iTunes, check all that stuff out. We have a whole catalog of stuff for you to enjoy. If you're one of our patrons, pass it on to other people. Make sure that they understand they can pledge as little as $1. We have rewards for $5, $10. It's not going to our pocket. Let's just put it that way. Full disclosure, Trina's in the red with the hats.
Yes.
I'm in the red with, I'm in the red with covering events, and hoping I get a tax break for it.
Yeah. We're both hoping to get a tax break, but I think you have like an actual accountant that you can work with. Yes, like I'm just hoping I can figure it out, like bibbidi boppity boo.
So all of this goes directly back into the to the product, whether indie pop on the New Age Insiders Network. We don't have anything, except a upcoming T-shirt for indie pop, but that's all we have. We have hats that are on hiatus, and apparently I'm going to have T-shirts, but I'm donating a lot of that to charity. So we're not really trying to make a lot of money here, man, but
we're not making money, period. What are you talking about? We're trying to make money. We're not making money. That's what it is.
But at the very least, we've made connections with people. So I think I can take solace in knowing that every episode you and I do matters to somebody. So even if we ain't feeling it, someone else will feel it.
Hopefully.
Think back to an episode we did last week where, matter of fact, the indie pop episode where we just felt like it was a train wreck from the minute it started. But I've been getting messages from everybody saying, "Great job! This was a great show. Loved your energy." And I'm thinking, did you listen to the same show that I did? Because that sounded kind of messed up. But
look, if you really had gone off the rails, then I would have reined you in. But I thought it was captivating because you are always in professional broadcast mode. And I felt like this was just Damian the fan, like talking, off the cuff, like just, we were getting like the real you and not like, I'm professional broadcaster Damian guy. So.
And yes, that's how I sound on
I know, I have bad impressions.
Damian broadcast man. Thank you for listening.
Yeah. So, I mean, I liked it, and I think people like our genuine selves. So like whether it's a train wreck one day or like super professional and well done, I think they'll take us both ways.
Whoa. It's not that kind of show, Trina. I know it's for patrons only, but it ain't that kind of show. Take us both ways. You know what I mean? But I've noticed something while, we're recording this through Google Hangouts, but I see stuff in your background there. You've got a lot of collectibles and a library on the left-hand side there.
I know. This is like the first time I've had this background before. Everyone's used to seeing me like against a wall or like in like a like a North Korean prison or something like that.
Like a small hallway.
Yeah, right, exactly. And now it's like there's some actual character behind me. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff.
I like it. A lot of knickknacks that the nerd side of me would appreciate. So it's like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Look at you being nerdy.
Hey, I can be nerdy.
Yeah, I know, and it's funny because whenever you let the nerd hair down, I think it's pretty interesting. Okay, well, side note, what else happened that was any good with WWE this week? Nothing.
Oh no, I don't think that's true. I really liked, one of the things that I pointed out was like Charlotte just keeps like evolving into this mega heel. You know what I mean? Because like at first, and it sucks for her that we make this comparison, but like at first, I looked at her as just like Rick Jr. And she did in the beginning. She did a lot of the same moves he did. She did a lot of same tactics. It felt like she was genuinely copying like his entire heel moveset. And now I think she's grown into her own thing. Like what I saw on Monday was a segment that Rick would have done, but then she took it like a step further. And so to me, that makes it interesting, because plus she's doing it by herself. Like I know, Dana Brooke is sort of always in the background. But what happened on Monday, she did completely by herself. Like Ric Flair, if he had done that segment, would have had Arn Anderson like at least somewhere in the background. But Charlotte was like a mega bitch to her dad by herself. I mean, he was like on the ground and like crying. Like it was, like it was pretty hard to watch. Like I didn't like that they brought up the old footage from like a couple of months ago, because at the time that was hard to watch. And then obviously now she's grown into this mega heel. And to bring that back was a little traumatic for me. Like, and I know I'm going to lose people because when I did Fightful, I think I said traumatic and someone's like, nope, I'm out. Like, but
why?
Wait,
I mean, what?
Yeah. Yeah. Because I don't know. Like I like feeling extreme emotions about wrestling. You know what I mean? So it's like when I say something felt traumatic, like that's good. Like I want to feel something. Like I don't want to be numb like watching the show. So if it's evoking emotion in me, even if it's a negative emotion, like that's the reason why I'm watching wrestling. Like to be entertained, to like see a crazy story or to feel for like a really old man who's crying and like his super bitch daughter. I mean, like these are the things that make us human. So and that's why I like being an adult wrestling fan, because I can be like 34 years old and still watch a show like that and like feel human emotion. Like I know I'm not dead inside.
Unlike me, who's dead inside.
Well, you've been always dead inside. The difference is that I feel like some people, like when they become adults and they get like mortgages and like jobs and children and all this different stuff, like they forget how to feel, like so deeply the way that they did when they were like 17 or 18 or 21 or 23, like look back, because you and I are in our 30s. If you look back at somebody who's like 22, 23, like they feel everything so deeply, like everything is a big deal, and it's like watching wrestling and getting this involved in a storyline and feeling, traumatized by Enzo getting beat up like naked in a hotel room or Charlotte yelling at Ric Flair, is our way of still feeling those feelings, but without the like consequences of being 23 or, like what, messing up your credit and getting an STD. It's like, it's like, this is the escape. Like this is the reminder to yourself that, that kid in you, that like person that can feel deeply is still there, even though you do like adult things every day.
Right. Well, that's what wrestling does for you and for countless others. And that's what broadcasting in general does for me, because, that's the only thing. That's the only time where you see me actually get revved up, because 9 times out of 10, I have to be, like you said, the professional one. And, in my everyday life and in my work life, I have to portray this image of, I'm a professional and I'm a role model. So I really can't cut loose, as it were.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And that's why I let you go. Like I knew the whole time that you were going to be criticizing yourself and you weren't going to be happy with the episode. But I really felt like that was a chance for the listeners to see what you're like when you're not in work Damian mode, and you're just a wrestling mark like all of us.
Yeah. Like I had told you when I went to House of Glory, I had in my notebook And at the end of it, it went from being concrete sentences to letters, random just letters and words that made no sense when I look back at it.
Yeah.
It's like, like power bomb. And then it was like bomb, chant, smell the coat. Like that's what it became, you know, ridiculousness. And it was fun. It was fun to cut loose and to just lose yourself. Even though I was supposed to be a professional in covering it. And it's one of those things where you can be both. And I think that's what I took from this week. When I go to Evolve, you know, I have a personal issue going on in Evolve already that I said earlier in the show. Yeah. So I have to suck it up. I have to be a professional. And I'm going to enjoy my man, All Ego, Ethan Page, whoop it up on Cody Rhodes, because Cody Rhodes is a heel now, even though they're both heels. So that'll be interesting. Right.
So, Cody's a fresher heel. Like he just was like super heelish on a pay-per-view. So
yeah, so that's like it's his heel coming out party in a sense.
Right, exactly.
On the indies. But I also get to see Chris Hero against Dick Togo. Like that's freaking amazing. Like Dick Togo's still going on, man. He's still a thing.
Right, and Chris Hero ain't nothing to fuck with.
Better as he gets older. Oh, I love it. See, this is what makes me love being a wrestling fan, man.
Yeah. It's awesome.
I feel good now.
Yay! Well, you know, and then you have like good stuff going on in your career, and you know, like when it rains, it pours. So like if you listen to our Last Mark Standing the last couple of weeks, like some of them have been down, like because we're well, what are we doing here? Does this matter? Blah blah blah. And then you know, suddenly you're getting like 1 million offers, and you're gonna get your SAG card.
Hopefully your boy will get a SAG card, and then he'll put his apparently handsome face, which I disagree with, out for the public to see, because I'm like, really? Have you seen me in the morning? Because that's not how I look. But all right. Before we go, I do want to make an admission to you and the audience.
Oh,
and
shit.
I have not talked to Trina about this prior.
Oh, God.
So everyone noticed that I want to take a hiatus this week, and with good reason. I felt burnt out. I felt like I was, you know, not being appreciated for all the work I do in all facets, all my jobs. I just did not feel like I was being appreciated. And by people, I felt that those I try to help, who I care about, who claim to care about me, were just constantly like stab me in the back or kick me in the nuts, you know, figuratively speaking. So I wanted to take a break. And then the cookie on top of my Rocky Road Sunday was the fact that I got a call on Wednesday morning from my father, who, Trina, you know, I love dearly. So, you know, nobody fucks with my dad, to tell me that my mother had multiple strokes and was hospitalized on Monday, but I didn't find out on Sunday. I didn't find out until Tuesday. So that compounded everything with and her and I don't have the closest of relationships, but it's one of those things where like, great, this is going to be the cherry on the shitty Sunday that I didn't want to eat, but I'm going to have to wolf this down because reasons, you know, and that's why I wanted to.
So when did you find out about that?
The stroke thing I found out about Tuesday, but it happened on Sunday. So my dad did
I'm just trying to see. Well, I'm just trying to see if I compounded your stress, you know, because like if people don't know, I disappeared from Twitter Tuesday night, and it freaked a lot of people out. I just needed to take a break, but I deactivated my account, and so that really freaked people out.
Yeah, I know, because they kept asking me.
Yes, right, and poor Damian. I mean, I've said thank you and sorry so many times, but I mean, he had to shoulder the brunt of that because people were DMing him and messaging him and trying to figure out like if I had died, like it was, you know, so that's why I'm trying to get the timing down, because now I feel like such an asshole because I compounded probably your stress Tuesday, Wednesday.
Well, no, I mean, what it really wound up doing was it actually made me feel a lot better because I was able to see that people were not just only caring about, you know, worrying about you. They were worrying about me in general. Like, hey, are you okay?
Right. Exactly. Like she's gone. Because of what about you? On. Like, what's happening with you? Like, yeah, no, they care about both of us. I feel like most people, if they've been with us for a long time, see us as like a pair. Like you can't, you know, if something happens to you, people are going to worry about me and vice versa. I think the people that have been with us for a while, like see us as a team.
Yeah. And that's what I took from our fans who were reaching out to ask me if you were okay. And then once I reassured them that you just needed a break, they were then checking in on me and saying, dude, we're not forgetting about you. Like, we know you're going through stuff too. Like, let us know if you need anything, Jimmy, Mimi, they would, Christy, everybody was just reaching out and trying to find out if we're okay. Joey G, I've told you that there's a litany of people who are reaching out to both of us because they were worried. And it's nice to know that if we went dark for like a week, people would automatically miss us and think that, holy shit, what happened to Damian and Trina?
Something, yeah, I know. Well, I mean, part of it is because we are so open on our podcast, and people feel like they know us. And so, I know this is going to be Patreon only, but I want to apologize to everybody for just ghosting and then having Damian have to deal with it and making everybody worried. I did just need some time off. And so at the time I was not thinking about the repercussions of what my actions would do. I mean, I deactivated my account and I went to dinner. And then Damian started texting me furiously. And so I noticed all this, it was affecting people. But whatever I was going through at the time, I was so numb to it. It's like, it took me a full 24 hours to realize the gravity of what I'd done. And so I apologize to everybody, for just ghosting. I know that's, for some people, that's a trigger. Some people that's really terrible to do. But that's one of the things that I do. I mean, depression and anxiety, fight or flight. I do. I do both. So, depending on the situation, I'll either fight or I'll just totally ghost and flight. So I don't know. It was nice to see everybody care about me and care about you. And I really do apologize for, making anybody feel concerned.
Right. But here we are. We're alive. We didn't go anywhere. We're not dead. So yay for that. And yay for this Patreon only edition of Last Mark Standing. Always reach the show, lastmarkstanding.com, iTunes, SoundCloud, on Twitter, your friend, Damian Salty G at Dare to be Damian, and the Marky Smark herself, Trina, at the Marky Smark. Tweet the show at Last Mark Podcast. Feel free to share any of your own personal stories about what happens when life gets too overwhelming as a wrestling fan. What do you do? How do you cope? What do you do? You just throw yourself in the network? Do you go to indie shows? Let us know. And also, you can find us on NAI, on the New Age Insiders Network, with our apparently successful show called Indie Pop, where we chronicle our travels throughout independent wrestling and kind of bring you a little behind the curtain of what goes on in independent wrestling as far as the who, the what, the when, the where, the why, and the how, just like we do at Last Mark Standing. So, Trina, any last words for the audience?
No, I love you guys. You guys are the best.
Love is a strong word for me. So I'm just going to say, you guys are cool. I appreciate you all. Trina can love you and she can cry, but me, I'll just be stern and salty.
Stone cold you are.
Stone cold salty, baby. Yeah, put that on the t-shirt. Let's get Ben on that real quick. Stone cold salty.
Right? He'll have it
Salt
done.
316.
Oh my God. He'll have it done. It'll be in your inbox in 3 hours.
Yeah, vacated title. Hit them up on Twitter. They got great graphic ideas. Salty 316 sounds like a very good shirt. I need to work on that one. So thanks for the idea, Trina. I appreciate it. Folks, we'll see you next week after our brief hiatus. We love you. Well, Trina does. I'm okay with y'all. Peace.
Bye, guys.